You agree that exactly half the Earth must be in at night and the other half of the Earth in sunlight at any time, right?
Not necessarily.
Okay, then what?
It, yeah, that gets even trickier again because then you have to start drawing the star tetrahedron shape of the skylight through which everything shows, and that
Okay.
would only work for the equinoxes. On the
Sure.
equinoxes, that's what it
So
looks like.
I believe you're right. This works for the equinox. So very good. Okay. So you agree that if this is where the sun is, then the light from the sun stops at a distance. We don't have to know what that distance is. We just know that it stops at a distance vastly shorter than the distance it covers going in this direction.
Well,
How is that happening?
That's a huge assumption. You don't know that.
Yes, we do know that.
You don't.
Yes, we do know that.
Because 70% of the Earth's surface is actually water. 30% might be land, and people don't live over all of the land. So for most of the people around the equator, that would be correct. But we don't live on every extremity of that little diagram you just drew.
But Iron, just a second ago, you agreed that at least half the Earth is getting lit up at any given time.
Yeah, during the equinox, that is what happens. So you need to explain to me, why does the sunlight not go as far in some places versus others?
Several things. It's to do with the height of the sun, it's to do with the attenuation of light, and it's to do with the star tetrahedron skylight through which the light itself appears. So once it reaches external to the star tetrahedron side of the intersection point, which is the equator, once it's outside of there, then the light actually gets shaped further and further outwards until basically it's showing 3/4 of the Earth will be in sunlight during the southern summer on the southern
Not the question. The question is, during the equinox, why does the sunlight not go as far in this direction versus that direction? That's the question.
Because the sun is not in a position, it's in an apparent position as it shows through our firmament.
Okay, but what is the light stop?
So magic.
No.
The sun isn't in a place, it appears to be in a place.
Correct.
Okay, so why does that make its light travel different distances?
Light doesn't travel, so you can forget about that too.
What does that mean?
Well, light doesn't travel. Light is caused by the electrostimulation energy of the sun itself, and that is what ionizes the gases of the atmosphere which create the light.
Is the sun where I am?
No.
Then how is it that I see the sun?
You are looking up through the firmament and you're seeing a hotspot apparition of it.
How am I seeing it?
With your eyes.
And what is it that my eyes do that allow me to see it?
They allow light to enter and let parts of your brain...
Oh, okay, so light does travel because the light has to enter my eye. So, anyways, light does travel, even according to you, light does travel. So why does light travel different distances on your flat Earth map?
Okay, consider this scenario. A frozen lake. A fish under the frozen lake looking up through...
Nope, not listening to that. I want a direct answer to why does the light travel different distances? So unmute yourself whenever you want and answer that question.
Yeah, but the tetrahedron fish, bro. Come on.
All right, yeah, I know.
I don't think he knows that he's... Oh, there we go.
Okay, so you got a fish under the ice of a frozen lake. When the fish looks up through the surface of the ice, he sees a hotspot apparition of the sun, but he can only see 10 feet in front of him. Everything else is in darkness. But as he travels through the water, the hotspot apparition moves with him, and the light travels with him, and he can see further. Does that make sense?
It's not an answer to the question.
It is an answer to the question because the sun moves with the viewer.
So, like, if it's daytime for me, and then I go all the way to the other side of the world instantaneously, the sun will move with me to the nighttime side?
Not if you move it instantaneously, because the sun doesn't
Damn.
cover the whole entire surface of the Earth. You know, like you can, it will in the lake.
But
You
I
know,
thought
if you
it
can-
followed
If
the
I
observer.
Iron
which
Horse,
is only a mile
if
away
I
or
s-
whatever,
Iron
that will
Horse,
work.
if I stay still, does the sun continue to move across the sky?
Of course it does. It moves like the hour hand of a 24-hour.
Okay, so then your thing about, well, if the fish moves, the sun moves with it, that obviously was completely irrelevant, because whether or not I move, the sun moves.
Yeah, but
So
if
again,
you
my
move,
question
it will
is,
move
why
with
does
you.
the sunlight travel different distances on your, according to the flat Earth belief model, whatever?
Because the relative position of the actual sun coming through the firmament is only going to propagate the light so far due to the atmospheric conditions.
Why? That's not an answer to the question either.
It is, because
Why
it's
does
about
it
the-
not go as far as in other places?
Well, it does. It's just that it's not where it appears to be. Just like for the fish, when he's traveling through the lake, the sun moves with him. If you move, the sun moves with you. If you stay still, it obviously moves independently, but it's also doing that whether you move or not. It's
The
going
sun
to
doesn't
still
move
appear-
with you. The sun has
It
its
does.
own motion.
If you had a building standing in front of the sun to you, and then you moved across from in front of the building, you can see the sun again. So it has moved in.
No,
a
I
position
moved. The
to you.
sun has its own motion. So this thing you're saying is just, it's so dumb. It makes absolutely no
There's
sense.
both. There's both. I'm not denying the sun's own motion, but if you move, even though the sun itself is only really, really slowly moving, its apparent position moves according to your point of view. Everything is personal perspective. That's the most important thing of the whole thing.
You're just
everything is
referring
so
to
wrong, because
parallax,
nobody
dude.
understands personal perspective.
Yeah. So again, yeah, parallax, perspective shift, that doesn't make the light travel different distances, okay? So why does the light travel different distances?
It's not traveling different distances.
Yes,
you
it
know.
is.
One
It
part
has
gonna
to be.
One part is going to be in twilight of the morning, one part's going to be in twilight of the evening, then midday is going to be directly beneath the sun. But we don't see from the top down. You know? We don't have a God's eye view of the world. We see from personal perspective, looking upwards through the firmament, which is exactly how the fish is looking up through it to see their own personal apparition of the sun in the ice layer. Our firmament is the equivalent of that ice layer, and that is how we are seeing the sun. We're not seeing the sun in its actual position whatsoever.
Okay, you never answered the question, but that's okay. We can go on to the next thing.